Hi, I want to very briefly, at a very basic level, introduce to you how to do your literature search for your research project. Some very basic things. First, it's up to you and to some extent your supervisor or your research mentor to determine what is important to study. So, the reason I say this up front is this knowing what it is you want to study, that is the variables, the population in which you want to study it, the technique. That's so important because it guides your future searches. So you have to begin to identify what are my variables, what are my dependent variables, what is affecting what, in what population, college students, high school students. Um, I'm looking at stress. Stress is a big word. Are you looking at emotional stress? So those will be dependent variables. So, for example, if my question is, what is the effect of mobile phone use on sleep habits in college students, then my dependent variable is sleeping habits. My independent variable that causes the effect or is associated with the effect is mobile phone use. The specific population I'm studying is college age students. Even that is very, very broad. You might have to narrow it down to college age students in the United States, in the Midwest United States. So, again, the more specific, the better. But that depends on what is important for you to study. The next thing, basic question you have to ask yourself is, what do you want to accomplish by searching literature and doing this study? So, research as an enterprise involves generating new information. Okay. So, how will your study be new? There's no point doing what everyone else has done. Okay. At that point, is not research. So, and it depends on what exactly you want to accomplish in that search. So, for example, you may want to know what the recent findings in a particular field is, meaning you're gonna focus more on when you're doing your search on maybe the last 5 or 10 years, whatever is considered recent in your discipline. It might be that you want to find gaps in literature for your future studies. So, for example, let's say there are 1,000 studies that have looked at mobile phone use on sleep habits in college students. Okay, different types of studies. Well, you might be like, well, I looked at all the studies and I didn't see any that talked about mobile phone use in people with disabilities, for example. And so you're going to add that additional variable into your search to identify what has been done about this particular topic in this particular population. And so that makes your study newer or novel to some degree. So it would help you find what are the gaps in literature, what hasn't been done. A third reason could be, and there could be more reasons, but a third reason could be, well, I just need some background for context about my research. So this is perhaps the most basic. Well, I want to study mobile phone use. Oh, what studies are there talking about mobile phone use? Anyways, people having mobile phones, or what studies are there about the sleep habits of college students? What is known, give me some ideas in that field. So that's I'll say, the most basic use of your literature search. So please note, whatever you identify as important is what determines what you're going to focus on when you read these papers. Reading papers is actually a significant commitment of time. It might take you several hours, in some cases, several days to finish a paper. Because when I'm saying reading the paper, I'm not just saying, oh, I read the abstract to have an idea. No, you need to read the paper, read the background, read the methods, read the results, read the discussion, okay, and conclusions. The reason I mention this is for most researchers, it's pretty typical to focus a lot more on the methods and the research if they already are experts in that field. If I'm an expert in the field, I don't need to go back and read about your introduction. That introduction perhaps includes papers that I wrote anyways, so it's of little use. So I want to see exactly how your methods are different from what other people in the field are doing and how your results adds to complements um, or contradicts what we already know about that topic. Okay, so when I say knowing what's important is important, it is because that's what determines what you'll be focusing on, what kind of data you're extracting from the papers you read. Okay, and it is important as well when you attempt to summarize your findings. Okay, now this is just a tip. If your project involves reading more than 10 papers, consider using a citation database such as Zotero.org. It's free. It helps you organize your citations as you begin to build more and more papers. And also, you don't have to hand cite every single paper you read.